Hello, my YouTube people. Sorry. I thought I could do this with music, but it is 4 in the morning, and I don't think I can concentrate that well if I have Goddess chants playing in my eardrum. Yeah, I just finished my Imbolc ritual, which is funny considering it's 4 o'clock in the morning on February 2nd, and I always celebrate Imbolc on the 1st. I know sometimes it falls on the 2nd, but I've always celebrated it on the 1st. It was also River's 4th birthday, and we're not having the party until next weekend, but she got to go to another kid's birthday party and came home infuriated that no one wished her a happy birthday, and they acted like it was this little boy's birthday. Because that's my kid. I only explained the whole thing to her before she left, but she was fucking outraged. She also had a breakdown over turning 4. She started bawling last night when I told her, when you wake up, you're going to be 4. She started crying, telling me she does not want to be 4, and she wants to stay 3. And I'm like, well, nothing really changes. And she's like, well, I'm 3. Whatever floats your boat, kiddo. I have a feeling when there's a party involved, she'll want to be 4. I'm just saying. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about Imbolc, which I don't think I've ever done that before. Imbolc and that was a Sabbat that took years for me to really connect with on any type of personal level. How a lot of the time, something always happened on that day to where I couldn't even do my ritual or anything. It seemed like that happened year after year. And of all the Sabbats, that is the one I neglected the hardest. And I think part of it was because I did not feel any type of real personal connection with it at all. But when I was pregnant and I was writing Sleeping Beauty, there was a part in it about her first Imbolc and her mother doing this ritual with her. And for the first time, I really understood, or at least for me, what Imbolc is. Anyone who's ever had a baby knows it takes about 6 weeks after you have that baby to really, it's like a transition phase. Like, you and the baby are both getting used to not being one anymore. And it's really at the end of that 6 weeks, you do start to feel more like you. Not you and the baby, this singular entity, but more like yourself. You don't ever really feel completely like your old self, but you feel like the mother version of yourself, and you start kind of transitioning alone into that phase of your life, which is something I fully didn't understand until I had River, but something that I was starting to kind of grasp as far as Imbolc went when I wrote that scene. And I see Imbolc as the period when the mother becomes herself, her new phase self. She has gone from the maiden into this mother, and she tries to figure out what new advantages there are to that and disadvantages and all that good shit. So what I've done ever since then, which again came out while I was writing the story, I personally can't think of any time that I've ever seen anybody else do this, because most people apparently don't feel the same way about Imbolc that I feel, but that's cool. The good thing about being a witch is you get to do your own thing. But I write 3 to 7 things that I want to banish for the turning of the wheel to accomplish whatever it is that I've decided I want to accomplish in that time. And 3 to 7 things. And it's not things in your life. It's not like poverty, depression. Well, yeah, depression would kind of count. Okay, it's not like poverty, bad luck, outside things, which is what we tend to focus on, or what I tend to focus on a lot when focusing on my rituals. You focus on the world around you and your situations and how those can be improved. This ain't about that at all. This is stuff within yourself, about yourself, that you would like to banish because it's no longer conducive, or at least not to the next turn of the wheel. And things that you want to nurture within yourself. Things that will benefit you in whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, that you have inside of you, that you just either want to grow from a seedling or tend to because it's already there. Strengthen it, what have you. And that seems to work pretty well for me. And that's my thing for Imbolc. So if you like it, take it. But yeah, so that's kind of how I look at that Sabbath. And I'm a weirdo because for every Sabbath I have a movie that I watch, either in the morning or that night, to kind of get me in the mood for it. And like for Austera, it's Practical Magic. Every time. Practical Magic. For Beltane, it's The Mists of Avalon. For Summer Solstice, it is the Tim Burton version of Alice in Wonderland. For Lunasha, it's Coraline. I don't really have one for Mabel. Oh, yeah, what the hell is the name of that movie? It was this weird little, like, quirky. It ended up on Netflix, but I never really heard anybody talk about it. Movie about this family of, they're witches, but they refuse to be called witches. And it has Aidan Quinn, the mom from Free Willy, Olympia Dukakis. It's not really the best movie ever, and I really don't like the way they are about the term witch, because they make it seem like they're being called Satanist, and I don't appreciate that, considering what they're practicing is goddess worship and witchcraft. But I get it. Maybe it was just to try to distinguish us from the Satan worshippers. At least it tried. Since the rest of Hollywood likes to act like we're just like vampires and are also mythical creatures, and don't get me started. Anywho, I can't remember what the hell it's called, but if you've ever seen it, that's my Maybon movie. Of course, for Sal and I have a whole month of movies. Pick one. I do. And for Yule, well, Christmas movies, just in general. I usually end up watching the Patrick Stewart version of A Christmas Carol, because A Christmas Carol is my favorite Christmas story ever, has been since I was like 6 years old. And the Patrick Stewart version that was on TNT like 20 years ago, that is my favorite version of it. So I usually end up watching that, but it kind of depends. Especially now that I have a kid. She kind of dictates which Christmas movie. I usually give her options. That's my first fucking mistake. But I say all of that to say that probably because I didn't really have any type of personal connection with Imbolc, I didn't have an Imbolc movie until River's very first birthday. And that year, I got her this big Moana doll that she still has, and she loves it. And I wanted her to know who Moana was, because we hadn't seen the movie yet. Yes, looking back on it, I realized she was only one, but this is my kid we're talking about. And yeah, she knew what was up. So while Tony was at work that day, and before the party and all that morning, I watched Moana with her. And first of all, that movie blew my fucking mind the first time I watched it. Not only did they have what was very clearly an Earth Mother goddess and also a dark goddess, and they were actually one and the same, but they actually called her a goddess. At the end, when Moana is bowing to her and all that, and Tafiti offers up Maui's hook to him, and she said it would be rude to refuse a gift from a goddess. Oh my god, man. In a Disney movie. Like, I was blown over. I think I might have actually cried a little bit between you, me, and the fly on the wall. Because, you know, that we've come a long way. And that's all I got to say about that. And that was really special to me. And the fact that River is still obsessed with that movie was also wonderful. And the fact that this movie is about finding your strengths and going toward your destiny and being strong and courageous enough and bold enough to go toward that destiny, which to me is what Imbolc is about. It was perfect. So now I watch Moana every year on River's birthday. She loves it now. I don't know how she's gonna feel when she's 16 and I'm still making her do it, but what else? And I don't know, like, where I had River on Imbolc, there are certain aspects now that I kind of incorporate her into. Like, I have this little candle that I burned while I was pregnant for her to kind of ask Brigit to keep us safe and make sure we lived through labor and made sure she made it to labor and all that. And I still have it, and I burn it on her birthday every year around like 7/20, because that's around the time she was born. And this year I let her and then I make a wish for her, like for her life or whatever for the coming year, and I blow it out like you would birthday candles. And this year I let her do one too. You know, she don't know it's any type of magic or whatever. She just likes candles and likes to do things on my altar, because normally she's not allowed to go any fucking where near it. So I incorporated her into that, and who knows what the future holds on that. But I do, and always have found it hilarious, that I do believe Hecate might be her matron goddess, because she came to me before I was ever pregnant for River. And she, like, at first I thought, well, I must have a second matron. I think I even made a video about it. Like, I can't believe I didn't see it all this time, blah, 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 blah. I don't think she's my goddess. Now, whether or not River finds her way to her, that's on her. I don't think I'll even tell her anything about it. But I do think that Hecate is her goddess. But Brigit, I called on to help me make her, to protect her in the womb, to protect her when she was born. And what would you know, she was born on Brigit's Day. And I always thought that was really funny and kind of cool. Like, I started really to go into early labor, well, not early labor, but I had early signs of labor and being dilated and all that, like 2 or 3 weeks before I had her. And it was like Brigit was going, no, you want my help? That's fine. She's going to be born on my day. So she is. And I have a fucking Aquarian. At least she's free-spirited, because she could have been a Capricorn. Which I did want her to be born on Janis Joplin and Edgar Allan Poe's birthday. Yes, those two share a birthday. If you did not know, it's January 19th. They were both Capricorns. And so I'm sitting there like, if she has to be born around that time, because her due date was January 31st, which is when I went into labor. But I'm like, if she has to be born around January, come on, man, that would be an awesome birthday. Yeah, it didn't happen. Didn't happen. That was around the time I started having, like, Braxton Hicks and contractions here and there. And around the time that I was a centimeter or two dilated. But, no, she was born on Imbolc. I know this Imbolc video is a little late, considering it's 4:03 in the morning and Imbolc is technically over, but there's always next year, yeah. Plus, I haven't got my Witch's Datebook yet, so I don't know how it might be on the 2nd this year. I don't know. I know I'm saying a lot. I'm trying to keep my thoughts straight because, again, it is 4:04 in the morning. I have an idea, y'all. All 5 of you watching. But I'm also, I think, going to post about this on Facebook. My hair's driving me nuts. I'm not even used to it being down anymore because I'm always hot, so I always keep it up. Anyway, one of the things that I wanted to, like, nurture in the coming year was the fact that I like helping people. And I think that's part of what has made it so weird without Grandma and Grandpa, because I was used to that kind of, caretaking. Now, I'm not going to go out and be a caretaker. I have a kid and a husband who acts as bad as the kid. So I'm good on that. But I would like to do something with my channel, maybe like Ask Key, I don't know, where I kind of answer questions, give advice, like whatever the question, whether it's personal toward me, whether you want to know about the craft, whether you want advice on something in your life, but beware, I don't sugarcoat a damn thing. I don't sugarcoat it to anybody. Like, I will be kind in the way that I say it, but I'm not going to lie to you to make you feel better. I'm sorry. I don't think that's productive. I don't think that's helpful at all. So if you ask me something and you explain a situation, I will absolutely, without knowing anything but what you've explained to me, without having any dog in that fight. That is such a horrible expression. I've also heard horse in that race. That's better. Anyway, I will answer it 100% how I see it. So if you don't want that, don't ask me, okay? Don't get pissed at me, because I've now warned you. But if you don't want your name out there attached to the question, whatever, that's fine. And I also think, because, sometimes people go to the internet when they're having a really tough time. So I think I'll make sure to include, like, the number for the suicide hotline in the description box. And there's got to be a hotline for domestic violence. Something like that, that type of thing. And I will also make it clear to y'all, this is not advice that's meant to replace mental health at all. I am not a licensed psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor, none of that. This is just one friend talking to another friend. I know some of y'all know I have my master's in the science of psychology, but I did not go on to take the additional classes that I would have needed to actually be a counselor, so I'm not licensed anywhere in the world. It ain't coming from that place. But I do have issues myself, as I'm sure y'all have figured out over the last 5 years. And I will try to do my best to give you the best advice I possibly can, or the best answer. If it's a question about witchcraft or me or whatever, I will answer anything. Literally anything. But I think I'm going to make a separate video for that. But I just want to give y'all a heads up. Let's see, was there any... See, I need to start making bulleted points, because my brain has come to a point, especially since I keep doing these at 4 or 5 in the morning, where I have trouble keeping track of everything I wanted to say. Doesn't help that I do about 2 videos every 3 years. Let's see, I think that was everything. But blessed Imbolc. And to those of you who like the idea of what I do for Imbolc, have at it, Hoss. And I don't think that I got that idea from anywhere. If I later find out that that is untrue, I will write in the description bar whoever I need to credit for it. But as far as I can remember, that just came when I was writing. Let's see. Is that it? I think that's it. I love you guys. Thanks for watching me, and I'll see you in a bit.